see me and can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can you all see me and hear me? Are you able to hear
No.
me and see me?
Hello, Mr. Sathe?
Can you all see me and hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you now. Yes.
Great,
We can see you
excellent.
also.
So thanks everyone and thanks Bombay Chambers for this opportunity. Um, it's my great pleasure to be here. I'm with my colleagues Vipul and Priyank. And 5 minutes have been allotted to me, so I'm going to make it quick. We have a fantastic partnership with Bombay Chambers on SME Growth Drive, which is essentially helping all you members, SME members, to accelerate their growth. So I'm going to talk about very quickly two, three things. First is about a quick word on the foundation. Second is about our Wadhwani Advantage program, which is focused on accelerating the growth of the SMEs. And thirdly, in 2023, what is it that we have as an offering for all of you? And my colleagues Vipul and Priyanka can join me to basically look at answering any questions if you have any. Now, in the interest of time, I think 5 minutes have been allotted to me, so I'm going to make it quick. For those who are interested in knowing more and in detail, please reach out to us at a later point of time. So, Wadhwani Foundation is a global philanthropy set up by Dr. Ramesh Wadhwani. He is based in Palo Alto for the last 45 years. And he has been a serial entrepreneur and he has pledged $1.5 billion dollars for the whole purposes of helping the job creators in our economy. And as you know, globally and as well as in India, SMEs really control 50 to 80% of the employment everywhere. What we are focused on is to actually fortify and help the job creators, which are basically the small businesses. And we want to accelerate their economic growth. And for us, job creation is just a byproduct. What we want to focus on is to make sure that you are economically developing faster and so that you are able to make sure that you're able to hire more people. So that's what our mission is. We do work in three areas largely. We work in the area of startups. We have the small businesses. We also have what we call skilling, wherein we skill the people at the entry level to be productive in their jobs. Our mission is, as you can see on the top here, which I'm going to talk about very quickly, is to really develop 100,000 a year entrepreneurs supported on the WF platform. One of the most important things that we want to do is to help all the entrepreneurs, whether startups or SMEs, by creating a community platform because we believe that there is a lot of consulting and a lot of advisory work that can be done, which can be automated to make sure that the SME entrepreneurs not only are solving their problems, but SME entrepreneurs develop the skills to solve the problem. So that is our key focus, which is different from traditional consulting that you may have all experienced or all the members may have all experienced. So we want to really create 100,000 jobs, 100,000 SME entrepreneurs a year supported on that platform. And the second very important thing is to help the SME entrepreneurs achieve 20 percentage point to 50 percentage point incremental revenue growth. So if all of you are growing at, let's say, 10%, 15%, 20%, we want to make sure that that delta that we add by accelerating your growth is really achieved. And we want to do that in three things. One is to basically give you a series of growth seminars which are focused on ideas. We want to hold boot camps, which are basically the version of making sure that your ideas of growth are validated, properly backed up by data. And the third is that we want to really develop the skills among the SME entrepreneurs in making sure that you develop the program management execution skill. Globally, if you study the history of SMEs for last 60, 70 years, 71% of the transformations that SMEs go through really fail because of the execution. So what we want to make sure is that we develop in you the PMO, the Program Management Office, which is nothing but execution skills, as we start helping you in your journey of the transformations. So that's what we want to do. As I mentioned, there are two main offerings that we have. I'll very quickly talk about the SME Growth Seminar and then move on to the SME Bootcamp. SME Growth Seminar is a series of live online sessions which are meant to basically give you ready to use tactical, practical ideas that you can implement to accelerate your growth. I mentioned a while ago that our endeavor is to add that delta in your growth rate. Some of the very important things that we want to do is to make sure that you understand the main concepts and the tools. It is led by a facilitator, somebody who has experience in dealing with the small businesses and having experience in actually doing things as opposed to just a gyan and slides. We want to make sure that you hear it from the doers, practitioners, not just about theoretical gyan. The other thing that we want to do is to bring to you the ready growth checklist. So we have the inventory of the large database of the lot of the ideas which have been actually implemented. So in these sessions, you're going to experience the exchange of ideas, which is very important. It's just not about what has worked in one case, what hasn't worked in the other case, but it's through the peer interactions and through the facilitation you're going to learn about which ideas are going to be sweated for you to work in your environment, in your context. And then we are going to synthesize those learnings through the case studies and interactions to make sure that we bring to you the deeper resources that Wadhwani Online has. And what are these deeper resources? We have curated advisors for you to make sure that your journey of transformation is taken forward. We have service providers which are there on the online platform. So we'll make all that available to you. And as a foundation, we all know that we basically do not want to charge a single pie to our SMEs as a foundation. That's our motto. So for this seminar, for example, there is not a single paisa that you have to pay to attend this seminar and avail of this very, very intriguing ideas that are that will make you grow faster. And one of the most important things you will get out of this is ready to use ideas, practical ideas, but also in that process, you will understand that if you were to implement those ideas, what are the growth hurdles and therefore what are the implementation challenges? And if you were to develop those capabilities to implement those ideas, we will basically end up look at where is it that you need to improve, whether it is talent, whether it's funding, whether it is any other constraint that you have that you want to improve on. There are 3-4 points that we want to focus on and which are really the cornerstones of every growth that an SME has. This is not an exhaustive list, but this is a priority list. So we are going to focus on sales and key account management. We are going to focus on digital marketing, digital transformation, and what's the kind of customer experience that you want to deliver, whether you are in B2B or B2C environment. We're going to also look at making sure that you track and manage competition because at the end of the day, it's all about competitive position. You exist because you want to serve the customer, but if your customer has to choose you again and again and again, we need to figure out how is it that you can improve and beat the competition. And finally, we are going to look at how to solve the recruitment and retention of the talent. Because one of the most important things that SME entrepreneurs face is that they don't have the second line and third line, and therefore they're quite handicapped. A lot of their time goes in operations and daily sort of areas, and which is why we want to free all the SME entrepreneurs from the daily operations that they're involved in to think about the growth idea. So this is one of the very important delivery and the offering that we have. The second one is really the SME Growth Bootcamp. Now, this is a very intensive 2-day workshop, which is basically featuring the cohort of SMEs, and it has a structured approach to validate the growth ideas. For example, if you want to export to a different market, there are different entry strategies that you can do, right? And we know that the market entries require different kind of aspirations. Either you can enter a market because of demand, or you want to enter a market because of resource. So it's a market seeking entry or resource seeking entry. Now, when you're thinking about that, it's very important to understand what are the fundamental principles that one must remember to know whether your idea is right or wrong. How do you know whether you want to export to the US? How do you want to know whether you want to export to the African countries, underdeveloped countries? How would you make that decision? How would you size the opportunity? How would you look at the local competition? So there are a host of things that are required to validate your business idea. So this boot camp is focused on making sure that your idea is validated. Now, this boot camp is an intensive 2-day workshop which is going to be happening in a face-to-face environment, in the live environment, and which is where we are going to make sure that the business owners are basically are there to commit to implement that idea, and they are able to commit to assign a dedicated person to take it to fruition. Because at the end of the day, execution is the key, like I mentioned earlier. Some of the takeaways that you will have as a result of this bootcamp are, of course, starting with diagnosis. And then finally, the 3 growth ideas which are shortlisted based on interactions and based on validation that our advisors will help you do to be able to then come out with a very clear plan, which is basically focused on executing that idea. Now, how is it going to be done? So it's going to be done in a very, very interactive environment. There is going to be a facilitator. There is going to be a breakout session with the different advisors. There are going to be sessions. And there, of course, will be cross-learning and pollination, refining ideas. Finally, we'll be able to connect with you all the SMEs to the right advisors so that they are able to implement these ideas in this workshop. So if you think about this, it's like it's we are reducing the cycle time to be able to reach the action faster, because at the end of the day, speed is of the essence. So these are the two very important offerings. And I think finally, when it comes to the community platform, this is one of the world's top 10 community platforms that we have selected to be able to be used for your these two products. And these two products will be not only be offered in online and offline fashion like I mentioned earlier, but this platform is really the one-stop shop where you come together, interact with each other, look at engaging with the right advisors and SMEs and the service providers. So that's very quickly about this program. Since the time limit is just 5 minutes, I will not be able to elaborate too much in detail. Vipul, may I request you to come in case I have missed out on anything? Would you like to add anything to what I've said? Vipul, are you there? I think I'm not able to hear Vipul.
Hello?
I guess, hello? Yeah, I
Um,
think I'm not able to hear Vipul. Maybe I think the audio is a
okay.
problem.
Okay, Mr.
But
Sathe, can we, unfortunately, we're running short of time.
exactly, yeah,
So
sure, yeah,
if we can
yeah.
just, we can
So
wrap this up. Thank you.
yes, absolutely. So thanks everyone. And because the time was short, I will not be able to elaborate on it too much. But you are welcome to engage with us later, because this SME Growth Drive is specifically designed in collaboration with Bombay Chambers, a partnership exclusively to help you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sathe. We now move on to the second panel discussion of the day, which is on the topic access to financing, new opportunities of financing to MSMEs. May I now request our esteemed moderator, Dr. Rajendra Sinha, founder, MSMEadvisor.com, and chairperson, Center of Excellence in Banking, JAGSoM, along with our eminent panelists, Mr. K. Sampath Kumar, CGM SME, State Bank of India, Mr. Ketan Gaikwad, MD and CEO, RXIL, Mr. Ravi Tyagi, Chief General Manager, SIDBI, and Ms. Meghana Joglekar, General Manager, Exim Bank. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Sinha.
Yeah, thanks, Gayatri. And in this panel, I have eminent speakers, seasoned bankers, seasoned corporate personalities. Mr. Sampath Kumar, Chief General Manager, SME, State Bank of India, has been a career banker. And SME-related vertical he is heading in State Bank of India, all policy-related decisions he is associated with. So interacting with him certainly will reflecting from the biggest bank of the country how they are going ahead with, and obviously they have the highest share in the market when it comes to SME lending, MSME lending. We have with us Mr. Ketan Gaikwad, who is CEO, Receivable Exchange of India, has been earlier associated with HSBC, then Standard Chartered Bank, and Receivable Exchange of India in today's context, when liquidity challenges with the MSMEs are the big factor for their coming under constraints. So his reflections will certainly be adding value to our panel. We have with us Mr. Ravi Tyagi, Chief General Manager from a small industrial development bank of India. They are the primary responsibility they have for promoting, for the financing of MSMEs in the country. And obviously they have a crucial role to play in MSME growth and development in the country. Madam Meghana, she has been associated for more than 1.5 decades with the Exim Bank of India. And in the beginning, inauguration, we had the MD speaking out. She will giving in more details the various schemes Exim Bank has for MSMEs and industries. I will, before I start interacting with the other panelists, Madam Meghana presentation, let us have it at end. Yeah, fine. Now, State Bank of India, there have been a lot of proactive decisions over a period of time. And to cater the requirements of MSMEs, there have been processes refinement also so that efficiency in delivery of a loan should be there. Of late, what developments have been there, the bank is focusing, please reflect on that, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you for the opportunity. I'm really delighted to be amongst the SME entrepreneurs. So you create jobs, you feed people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys create jobs, you feed people, keep the economic value of the asset of the country. In a capital-starved country, this becomes very important. So State Bank of India feels that we should be there in every lane, every by-lane, in every sphere, in every sector. So over a period of time, we have been, reinventing the entire process. Now, what we are trying to do is that move towards more mechanized form, where we build a business rule engine. The client merely keys in the basic data which is required, and the business rule engine checks. Basically, it's based on the tripod, the GST, the ITR, the verification of CIBIL and other checks. We run the engine and we look at the transaction pattern. We can simply draw your balance sheet straight away, right? With your GST records, straight away a balance sheet can be drawn. So what we are doing is that we are moving towards more a cash flow based lending. I just sat in a board meeting where the numbers, the sales is very good. The operating cost is very low. There is a good operating profit, but there is no cash. Whereas the cash, the entire cash was in receivables. Then when we go deeper into it, the receivables are, you don't know where those receivables are, how you are going to recover them. There is no strategy or there is no planning, or some receivables have to be written off. So cash becomes the key. There is no point in having books with a very fat profit. If you don't have cash, if you are not able to honor the check, if you are not able to honor the, the commitments which have been made, we don't deserve to be in business, and we cannot pay our employees, we cannot pay our electricity bill. So we have just moved towards cash flow based lending. And at this point of time, what is required is for an MSME unit to grow is to ensure that governance is not lost at any point of time. Utmost governance in every level, in every inch, in every sphere, because Google right now knows where I am sitting or to whom I am talking. What's the drive I took? What are the photographs I've taken? So that traces the footprints which you are living in the digital world. It can be positive, it can be negative also. So it is absolutely necessary for us to be on the rightmost side. Things are quite evolving. RXIL gentleman will, Mr. Gaikwad will explain to you, like everything is going towards digital. We are playing a big part. The MSME invoices which are getting generated, now you are getting price discovery. If the anchor gets into the TREDS platform, the price is discovered. No, banks bid for that invoice. So, such a great development, such a great journey. Now, the GST Saha app, which the government is working on, it is also going to give the same type of platform where any MSME, whether you supply to an industry major or to a smaller one, you can go there and banks can, finance you at very fine rates. So the evolution is that up to a particular level, we would want to come and have a cup of tea in your unit, just go around. Beyond that, we wouldn't want to ask you anything. You just upload your balance sheet, give access consent to, civil check, GST return, and we will build your balance sheet for the next 3 years. And we will assess what is the money I can give you. That is the journey which you are building in. We'll be scaling up in a slow way, up to, it will be, 50 lakhs, 1 crore and 5 crores, because large scale disruption is not desirable. So we'll be scaling up in a very gradual way. But at the same time, it will remove subjectivity in a big way. So if I don't like your face, I cannot say that I will not give you a loan. Or if our conversation not been in a very positive way, I cannot take a position that I will not give loan. Another thing is that for a credit officer, since it is a structured system, I also get protection. If I am a junior credit officer, tomorrow I also get protection that I have followed a business rule engine which the system has created. And bulk volume gets handled, so there is, human touch is always there in the sense, now I don't get time to talk to my customer. When I release this energy, I will get time to talk to my customer. But at the same time, we are definitely going to, keep certain things intact. One is that the client visit by my front end, my RMSME, to come and have a chat with you, to learn from you what are your plans. That is definitely going to be there. So your visit to the branch also at least once in a while, at least once is always, it's a good thing. So that way the engagement will be there, but it will be more digital, and it is moving in a very, very fast way. So if we don't change along with the environment, we'll be missing out. The environment is so good that I cannot tell you. Like, I can share one particular data that quite a bulk amount of my MSME customers, because of the new definition, they moved out of MSME. They were classified as non-MSME. So I had a dip in that particular portfolio. But when we went a little deeper into it, and I traced the turnover of these customers for the last 7 years, what I found was they were quite small and they have grown big. So even if he is not an MSME customer for me, you are a mid-corporate customer for me. So I'm very happy about it. I would want at one stage, no MSME, everybody is mid-corporate. Everybody is doing 1,000 crores.
Yeah, Mr. Sampath,
That's quite
very encouraging that people who started with a small thousands rupees loan, now they are having the loan appraisal for a couple of crores. So they have transferred from the retail customers to the mid corporate. Hopefully they will go in the bigger category also. And the evolution which has been seen, that going on the website earlier, it used not to be there, but now you have apply online for all your product and services, which I was looking on the website of SBI. And the roadmap which you are telling, that furthermore certain steps of the appraisal will be taken care of, that will bring efficiency in the loan delivery system. So that's quite encouraging. At the same time, although you have a lot many brick and mortar outlets, the largest amongst all the banks, but still in the tier 6, tier 5 centers, you are having some tie-up with the NBFC fintech players for reaching out to such beneficiaries identification. Can you throw some light on that also before I come to RXIL? Yeah.
Yeah, we use all the partnerships at every sphere to, one is to reach out to customer and to make his life quite easier. The entire business rule engine also, we use a lot of service providers. State Bank of India itself has created an operation support subsidiary. We have recently launched one subsidiary. This subsidiary in tier 2 and tier 3 towns, we will have people on the street who will reach out to MSME customers as well as agri customers, understand their need, and help them out. Whether it's creation of the KYC documents, or helping them out in, collecting the stock statements or whatever. In all areas, we would like to help with, work with them. Then the other engagement is the enrollment in trades. The GST Saha is another front end, which is again a fintech-based application. Online PSB is another platform, where we collect all the application and we process. And last but not the least, we are also engaging with all the NBFCs. NBFCs are, they give the last mile delivery of credit. Wherever I'm not able to give, when you want a truck to be bought immediately, and my system is not helping you at this point of time, and you go to an NBFC, so that NBFC delivers the truck within 1 day. So what we are trying to do is that we enter into a co-lending partnership with them. So they have the last mile connect, I have the ability to cut the check. So I take 80% share, he takes 20% share. So this is another initiative. We are building a very big tech platform there. So we are trying to get the best out of both worlds and deliver it to the MSMEs.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will come later. Mr. Ketan Gaikwad, here with the MSMEs, one of the biggest challenges is timely receiving their receivables. It gets stuck up, even payment at times it is assured of, it delays, it wholly upsets the operating cycle, the whole business cycle of MSMEs. Now this trade platform, which your organization is especially spearheading, how it is helping out and to what extent it has progressed in this direction?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for this wonderful gathering and talking about trades. It's a very important thing that people should know about trades. What is exactly the trades and why it has been started. And so that message should go, and I'm very happy that Bombay Chamber of Commerce has called us to talk about it. So see, these delayed payments always is a problem. It's not only a problem with India, but it remains a problem with all the countries. And I'll tell you why I'm talking about the countries also. So when you talk about the delayed payments, when there was a study which was carried out last year in 2022, May, June, it was found out that 10.5 lakh crore is the outstanding or the delays in the payment which were there, which is almost 0.5% of the GDP. And so this thought process to tackle the delayed payment came actually some 6-7 years back, 10 years back, when the whole process started, where SIDBI and NSE came together. And then State Bank of India also joined. There was a thought process of starting a trades platform. So trades platform is nothing but a digital platform. And the digital platform is where the invoices are uploaded digitally, where we have the participants which are MSMEs, which sell to the large corporates. You also have the corporates on the platform, and you also have the financiers on the platform. So we have around 57 financiers. And when you talk about the success of Receivables Exchange India Limited, or I would say that, look, I'm a representative of trades. So when we talk about the 3 trades platform which are there, we have done around discounting of around 1,27,000 crores till December. And the rates are growing. So when I joined this company, we were doing discounting of around 200 crores per month. But today we are doing discounting of around 2,500 crores per month. And that's growing. And that's growing because the focus from the government is there that the delayed payments, see, look what happens, you would be knowing and aware that when you supply to the large corporates or the large government institutions or government departments, there is always a delayed payment. And the problem is all about that you do not have the bargaining power with the large corporates, and then they take you for granted. The corporates and the government departments, the culprit is the government departments and the government also, where they don't pay it on time. Reason being because, look, when you have a supply chain contract which says very clearly you should get paid, you never get paid on time, because I will, as a large corporate, decide when you should supply to me, but I will also decide when I'll make the payment to you. So basically, sometimes the large corporates use the MSMEs to fund their working capital cycle. So this is a platform wherein the MSMEs can, once they have supplied the goods, they can upload the invoices on the platform, and then the buyer has to accept the documents, accept the invoices, and once the invoices are accepted, there's a price discovery, which is what Mr. Sampath Kumar said, that there's a price discovery mechanism. So the risk is, the pricing is done based on not on your credit, but on the credit of the corporate. So that's the beauty. So when you have a large MSME or a MSME supplying to, let's say, Tata Motors or any other corporate in India, so your pricing of the invoice is not on your credit. So when you are an MSME, your credit pricing is something at 12 to 13%. But when you price it at the risk of the corporate, large corporate, the pricing is around 6 to 7%. In today's rate, when the repo rates have gone up, it is a little bit higher. But you easily have a saving of 5 to 6%. Plus, the the money which you get, it's without recourse. The money is without recourse. So look, you can imagine a scenario where you're getting paid after 45 days or 50 days, and sometimes it extends into 6, 7 months. If you're getting paid on the third day or the fourth day, that's what exactly happens on the platform.
Wonderful, wonderful. And hope that the volume increase which you said, that 100 times going up, and more so in the time to come. One question for the clarity of everyone, that this receivable, the trade platform, whether most of the benefit is for the high value clients or the medium enterprises, and how the small enterprises more and more can be brought for the benefit from this platform.
So when you talk about it, it's about the suppliers. I am assuming that you're talking about the medium and small enterprises. So when you talk about the analysis, which we have done the analysis, and we find that 90% of the corporates, MSME corporates, are all medium and small. Sorry, I would say small and micro, and around 7 to 8% is medium. So it's almost 92% is micro and small enterprises, because they are forced to come over there. I would rather say that the corporates want to handle their payments on the platform, because you have a MSMED Act which says very clearly you have to make the payment within 45 days. So that's why there's a compulsion that they should come on the platform. But one interesting thing which I want to tell you, that look, during the COVID times, the platform's usage, or rather the access, I would rather say the activation of the corporates took much more, was on the higher side, because they wanted to support the smallest corporate on the platform.
Wonderful. Coming to Mr. Ravi Tyagi, SIDBI, as we know that it is the premier institution when it comes for MSMEs, growth, development and financing. How far this role succeeding, and also in the context of that you have got SIDBI Vision 2. How do you reflect the future, your course which you are going to have under Vision 2?
Yeah, thank you and good evening to everybody. So just, I think briefly, before I tell the role of SIDBI, it's very critical for us to understand that when we say MSME, it's a very, very large and diversified ecosystem that we're talking about. Sometimes we mix up things. So there are companies with 200 crore turnover, which is an MSME. There is a 10 crore company, there is a 50 crore company, there is a 50 lakh company, and there is someone just doing 2 lakhs of business. So it's a very diversified ecosystem, and the needs are huge, and therefore the big banking system, platforms like RXIL, everyone needs to work together to create this. Now SIDBI's role is different. We are a Apex Development Financial Institution for MSME sector. So we not only, maybe our direct financing is very limited, more to understand the market, but we do things which supports the overall system, overall financing of SMEs and their growth. Just for example, the two biggest guarantee corporations for MSMEs are managed by SIDBI. CGTMSE, which guarantees loans up to 2 crores for SMEs so that they don't have to give any collateral. Up to now, 4 lakh crore of guarantees have been given to nearly 6.5 million MSMEs. So that's a program which we manage with Ministry of MSME, and it's a very well-run program. And we're doing a lot of new things there. The limits are going to be increased up to 5 crores from April. We have brought down the guarantee fees, which is negligible now. I mean, in the kind of guarantee, 75% which is being given. So that's a very big role. Everybody knows the important role which emergency credit line played during the COVID time. But it was managed by another guarantee corporation, which is National Credit Guarantee Corporation, which is again managed by SIDBI. So SIDBI plays a big role behind the, I would say, behind the front in supporting such things. We are very active in the venture capital ecosystem. We support that in a very big way. We support microfinance institutions in a very big way, trying to give very, very small loans of 50,000 to 5 lakh rupees to the countless number of small people that you see all around, small shops, very small kiosks, street vendors, everyone. And then we also promote a lot of digital institutions, like we are promoters of RXIL. So our role is very big, and continuously we are expanding our roles in like supporting all these things in a bigger way, and using digital as a very big ecosystem.
Quite encouraging, and more so with the inflation and all, the value of money over a period of time coming down. So this 2 crore limit, then the hybrid product which has come that if you are securing with the credit guarantee 2 crores, the other 2 crores can be also with collateral. Now you are going with the 5 crores. That's really a need of the time. So
just one more thing on the guarantee, because it's of interest to everybody. So not only, the hybrid product was because the banks felt sometimes, taking a small collateral from the promoter brings some skin in the game. So making it totally collateral free, give them the option, so that hybrid product was created. But now we are also entering into tie-ups with state governments. So a lot of state governments are now coming forward and saying, okay, if you are guaranteeing 75% of the loan, if the unit is in my state, I will further guarantee 15% of it. So for lenders, it becomes a very, very attractive proposition to fund in that state. So a lot of things are happening, and this is a multiplier effect which SIDBI looks in all its initiatives.
Yeah, thank you. In continuation to what recently the FM announced that further the corpus increased by 9,000 crores for the credit guarantee, and it will have implications of additions of 2 lakh crore. So how far this will be really helping out, or do you see even the increase of corporates in the time to come, little more or somewhat more, looking to the actual requirements at ground level?
No, this corpus is very valuable. 9,000 crores is a big amount for government to give, and like there are so many compelling areas of, asking government for money. So 9,000 crores is a big corpus, and we are very confident. This year itself, last year we did 56,000 crores, something like that, and already our guarantees in this year are 86,000 crores. So the numbers are very high, and we feel increasing this limit from 2 to 5, and bringing down the kind of guarantee fees, there is going to be a very big surge, and banks are going to embed guarantee products more effectively in their own credit products.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Sampath, because ultimately the delivery of this has to be through the commercial banks. So how you are going to leverage this out? Because certainly there will be a credit guarantee support for up to 2 crores, and even in the hybrid product 4 crores. So how you are looking at it?
Yeah, see, first of all, the challenge is to take care of the volumes. So we are doing a massive work on that with the help of SIDBI. What is happening now is that to enroll into the program, as soon as the loan is sanctioned, SIDBI has developed a process whereby, I upload the data and I get the CG PAN, that is the identification number, within hours. So this is one which has been already rolled out. So you take care of the volumes, you take care of the number of enrollments, bringing all those eligible customers into the net. You don't miss out on anything. Likewise, in the case of difficulty, SIDBI is also working on the settlement. So from the bank side, we are ready with all the initiatives of the API and technology support.
Yeah.
That is on the one side. On the other side, we are trying to reach out to my delivery boys, my front-end guys, saying that this is the nation wants this to create employment, to protect the economic assets. So we are trying to reach out to them, and in a very big way. So we are totally ready for that, and the next big leap will happen with this particular support.
Yeah, very encouraging instance. Mr. Ketan, coming back, for this trades platform, even the FM in this budgetary announcement said that the central enterprises with the and businesses with the more than 200 crore turnover should be on this platform. But there are instances not all of them have come. So, what's the reason? What's the difficulties on their end, and how this can be resolved?
See, although the platform is good, the entire thing revolves around discipline. See, when you come on the platform, there is a discipline which is involved for the corporates to come in, because the moment they come on the platform and they accept the invoice, if they don't pay, that is, at the when the just to tell you the example, the corporate, the MSME uploads their invoice, the invoice gets accepted by the buyer or a particular due date, and then the financier comes and pays makes the bid for it, and then he makes the payment. But on the due date, he has to receive the money. So if the buyer does not make the payment on the due date, then he gets reported into the default scenario, which is SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2, and NPA. And compare this scenario to a non-trades platform or a non-trades issue, wherein, let's say you have two invoices. One invoice has been discounted on the trades platform, one invoice is not discounted on the trades platform. So in the first instance, he has to, since it is discounted, he has to ensure that on the due date he has funded the account. If it does not do that, he gets reported as a defaulter. But in the another scenario where he is not discounted the invoice, he need not call the MSME also. MSME will keep on following what happened to my payment, what happened for my payment. So that is a scenario. So it's whole about discipline. But what we have seen is, after the discovery that that the pricing discovery is happening on the platform, and suddenly the corporates are realizing that they need to come on the platform, because this is digital discounting, and this is a digital prowess actually. Just to tell you that digital prowess, because we are displaying to the world that this is something which is not there anywhere in the world, and this is how we can take it outside. So when the corporates, there is a initial phases, there was an initial hesitance to come on the platform, but now we are seeing that the platform, the corporates are coming. But again, when in India, what happens is when the rule comes in, when there is a mandatoriness, people look at it from the compliance point of view.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they have just registered, but they're not transacting, for which the government is putting another push and pressure to get started.
Yeah, yeah. Hope this comes through. And good thing, I was happy to hear RBI Governor even talking about this today.
So RBI, in fact, just to talk about the push, the government is pushing also that the corporates where the lower credit rating is there, that is the large corporates, or the buyers for the lower corporates, you can have insurance also. So that is something which we've been pushing on. And this is something which the RBI has listened and heard about it. And it was very glad to see that today in the announcement, it was there that, for the lower rated corporates, the insurance companies can come, and then subsequently the banks can take the credit call on those corporates.
So again, quite encouraging from the MSME perspectives. Certainly, this will be helpful in the time to come.
Can I add one point?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, another announcement is that there is going to be a secondary market. Yeah. So suppose, some ex-bank or NBFC has the receivables, then I can, discount it in trades, and they want to, shrink their balance sheet size. So another bank, I can always pitch in and buy it out. And at the same, likewise, I need to shed some of it. I want to reduce my exposure on that. Then I can shed it to other bank. So what's happening is that the market is getting very deep and very wide. So all these are going to support money available for the invoices. And the advantage for the system is that these are all GST invoices. So there are no rubber invoices, hopefully. So the genuine, that's where governance comes. You be on the rightmost side of governance, the system takes you up.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will now request Madam Meghana, if you can make a presentation.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
So, can somebody just put
Gayatri or somebody from BCC. Yeah, the presentation, yeah, PPT,
Thank
yeah.
you. I think until it's being uploaded, thank you very much
Yeah.
to Bombay Chamber of Commerce for inviting us here and to be a part of this August panel. In fact, our MD was one of the keynote speaker, and she sort of gave a brief overview on the world economy and the role of MSMEs being played. I think very quickly in terms of context setting, I think I'll need somebody's help to just change the slide. Thank you. So, of course, as Export-Import Bank of India, it was sort of important to lay it out there in terms of, the exports. Of course, country for FY22 had set the target of $400 billion of exports, which of course we did 422, and up till now we have sort of done about $336 billion, and hopefully this trend continues for March as well. The good trend is that, we see some significant growth happening, even in the non-oil exports, in segments such as electronics, agricultural products, leather, chemicals, ready-made garments, etc. And the ITC report, of course, says that, India has an untapped potential of almost $240 billion. And our MD also mentioned in the morning, where as per Exim Bank estimates, the untapped potential today for Indian MSMEs is $108 billion. Now, exports is important because if we look at the stats which are there in the quadrants, of course, I think the MSMEs today in terms of the contribution to the GDP are almost contributing 25%. In terms of the manufacturing output, it is almost, I think, 36 to 38%. But we often keep hearing, out of India's exports, MSMEs contribute value-wise to almost 45 to 50% of India's exports, which is, of course, today 45%. But the point here is, the actual number of MSMEs who contribute to these exports in terms of numbers is actually small. So while value-wise we contribute, so this stat again says that there is a lot of potential today for MSMEs, not to just look at the Indian markets, but also look at the export markets at large. Thanks. Next slide, please. Now, here also again a stat from our perspective, we see that, we often hear global value chain, today 70% of the international trades are involving global value chains. Just for the benefit of the audience, basically, which means today your raw material, intermediate or components of finished goods sort of get produced across various locations, and then they become a part of the finished product. Now, the important point here is if we look at India's participation in the global value chain, whether, when we say backward, so components, and with recently in the budget, we said, custom duties have been lowered for the inputs for various, categories. That is going to improve the backward participation in the global value chain. So which is at modest at 19% and some 16.5%. But today, again, this is an opportunity for MSMEs to become part of the global value chain. And MD, of course, in her keynote speak did mention that we are, of course, in a globally in an environment, where we are seeing the shifts in the supply chain happening. China plus one has sort of opened up a lot of opportunities today for Indian companies. And we are seeing trends, like nearshoring, reshoring, where we see, manufacturing bases being shifted to home countries, or sometimes manufacturing bases coming to the markets. So India, again, PLI is sort of going to encourage this whole thing. Now, I'm not going to come to the key challenges for MSMEs for participation in the global value chain. I think today the whole panel here sort of, in a way, focuses on the last part. See, access to finance is a major part of your growth story. Apart from, the various things, investment in technology or modernization, governance, we did hear about digitization and various things, but also access to finance. A very quick, next slide, please. I know I have to complete. Please let me know in terms of the time, sometimes. No, of course, SBI, but Exim, of course, this year, just like SIDBI mentioned, it's a financial institution, same as Exim, it's an all India financial institution. This year we are completing 40 years, and, Exim Bank, is mostly known for the policy lending that we do on behalf of Government of India, which basically means when India extends bilateral assistance to overseas countries, they are generally routed through the Exim Bank, and large project exports out of the country are happening to these countries, and Indian companies are exporting. So for them, there is no buyer's risk and there is no country's risk. So these are the policy programs which we run, buyer's credit, which is extended to overseas entities. But having said that, the very important criteria today for Exim Bank to look at any company, and I'm not diversifying whether it is a large corporate or whether it is an MSME, I think it is very important that you need to have exports in your radar. If you're exporting today, that is great. But Otherwise, export aspiration has to be there. Otherwise, if you are looking at domestic markets, I'm sure the Indian banking sector is robust to sort of meet all the requirements of any sort of a company. One of the other things, of course, I mean, which we do is overseas investment finance, that is help Indian companies go global. But today I just wanted to sort of talk specifically, since MSMEs are today our, the sort of focus today. Here was to talk about the Ubharte Sitare program, where SIDBI is also one of our partner associate in this particular program, just for the benefit of the audience. We'll just move next time. Okay, this I'm not. So see here, basically to say that, support for any sort of company is across the value chain, So today Exim's financing, so if you are in already a company which is engaged into exports, then any kind of funding is possible, right from R&D stage to product design, to purchase of equipment, setting up of manufacturing facilities, needing support for overseas marketing, setting up, which I talked about, overseas investment. So this was just to sort of make a quick mention. Thanks. We'll move. Thank you. So, I did mention, can I just continue?
Yeah,
Thank you.
please.
Okay, so I just thought I'll just take 2 minutes to quickly talk about the Ubharte Sitare in Hindi, or what we call as the Rising Stars program. So this was an announcement in the budget of FY 2020 by the Honorable Finance Minister, when this was announced and when Exim submitted a concept paper to the Ministry of Finance, and SIDBI was announced as a partner institution. Now here I wanted to mention that small and medium enterprises are the largest beneficiaries under the Ubharte Sitare program. Now why are we? Because we are trying to identify such companies who are small today but have the potential to become much, much bigger. And when I say much, they have the potential. So if you're today a 50 crore company has, a 50 to 500 crore aspiration, or says I'm a 20 to 200 crore. So we of course try to see that, what is it that, a differentiated, either you are into an innovative product or a process or a technology, or you have some sort of a market edge which is sort of going to put you on that fast track growth. And here of course the support comes predominantly in the form of debt. There is also a fund, what we call as the Ubharte Sitare Fund. It is a category 2 alternate investment fund, and SIDBI and Exim are principal sponsors in that, which is doing equity investments into companies, which is again a very interesting development, and there is a small grant component. Now here I'll just, so here of course the objectives are to sort of help companies, with a differentiated product process technology, handhold them, and eventually, as Exim Bank being a developmental financial institution, has to eventually sort of map to the exports of the country, economic growth and employment and things like that. So see, I mean, of course, we talk with various industry associations, like today how we are talking about these sort of programs, academic institutions. Somebody was from Science some time back, and we associate with academic institutions. And when I say value proposition, so the idea is not for just Exim, like SIDBI and Exim can do together, but for example, even SBI's portfolio, we have such companies, who are rising stars. This is no one bank can sort of be a part of your growth story. It's always along with everybody we want to sort of be a part of your growth story. Yeah, next. I'll just quickly, I think we can skip this. So as I said, SMEs are the beneficiary. Here we of course do debt. I did speak about equity. Anybody who has interest, I mean, of course, can connect with us separately. My colleagues Janvi and Mangesh are also with me here today. So debt, there is equity, and there is a small grant. Debt, of course, we all understand, debt in any sort of form. I thought I'll just quickly, with the permission, just very quickly focus on some very interesting sort of cases which we did under the Ubharte Sitare program. And in some cases, of course, we are looking at jointly financing with SIDBI and in fact with some other banks as well. So each of these cases, these are very, very today small companies, but for everywhere there is a narrative. Now, as you can see, it has been sort of industry agnostic. Whether we, one as you can see is a defense drone company, again a very sort of market leader in its own way, and they received a large contract. We helped them sort of part finance. In one of the Bombay-based company, again one of, it's again, SIDBI and Exim are sort of here in this together to support this company. The only supplier of lipids to Pfizer and Moderna from India, again very small company. We have shown some leather accessories and goods. I just wanted to make a narrative here. Today we see a lot of SMEs, who are suppliers to large MNCs such as, Amazon, Decathlon, IKEA, Zara, or, Now, these are, I think, very interesting story. Export is the best form of competitiveness. I think if your product is sort of onboarded by an MNC, I think it speaks volumes in terms of, your product quality or something. And we thought it will be very interesting to, and these are small SMEs. Imagine a small sports good in Meerut, but supplying to a decathlon worldwide. I think these are very inspiring stories coming out of the country. And we are trying to, support such cases under the Ubharte Sitare program. And, so there are other such cases, and every case there is a particular narrative, why we sort of supported them. Of course, we have today various things, but this trade assistance, I thought I'll just make a quick mention. So, as I said, this trade finance is, again, this is something which we have, recently done, and we are now seeing a lot of traction. To simply explain the audience, so here, I mean, we have now networked with a lot of foreign banks as well as Indian commercial banks under this particular network. Just to explain the concept very quickly, let's say a grape exporter from Nashik wants to export to an African country in Kenya. Now, an LC is opened by a Kenyan bank, and the Indian exporter wants to discount the LC. Now, neither the Kenyan bank, neither the Indian bank knows the overseas bank, and neither the exporter knows. So, it is challenging. In such cases, Exim Bank adds its SBLC. And for the Indian bank also, it is a transaction where they're taking a risk on an Indian bank. So the concept is that, but we see a lot of traction happening. It is basically today for MSMEs to enter into challenging markets. I mean, if we move aside from Europe or US, which are sort of our traditional markets, but to try and tap challenging markets. So, of course, we have listed the list of countries which we have sort of taken in phase 1. So I hope that was helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was quite informative. My questions, which I would have asked, you have taken care of in your presentation, so I need not ask the questions.
Sure.
And it has been a wonderful interaction with very seasoned top personalities from these organizations. And I look forward that given the fact that MSMEs have the challenges of low capital, they have the challenges of fluctuating demand, they have the challenges of supply chain issues are there, and the risk involved is there for the banks, for the, coming back the principal with interest. But yes, looking to all these factors and the various initiatives which is being taken, Government of India and the various organizations, there will be product and services evolving, as we have just heard, that these are evolving and will take care of the risk aspect of MSMEs. And I'm sure that from 30% to the contribution of our GDP, this should reach 50%, and we should have a wonderful talk in our BCCI convention sometime later, not very far off. And for a small contribution from my side during COVID, I did that. I brought MSMEadvisor.com, especially for interacting, and MSME Blast magazine, summing up all the various initiatives of these MSME-related Government of India initiatives. And I think that there will be no better platform than this for releasing this magazine, and I will be putting thereafter on the website. So I will invite Mr. Rajan, if you can join, and also Mr. Sandeep, you are here, you can join. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sirs and ma'am. I now request Mr. Rajan Raje to kindly give out some mementos as a token of our appreciation. And Mr. Viraj Kulkarni, please. Okay, Mr. Anil Radhakrishnan and Mr. Viraj Kulkarni, please kindly do the honors. Ms. Meghana Joglekar. Thank you. Mr. Viraj Kulkarni. Mr. Sampath Kumar. Mr. Ravi Tyagi. And Dr. Rajendra Sinha. Also. Thank you so much.
Just, Mr. Sampath, 1 minute. I know you are short of time. Just 1 minute.